invisible, read as trespassers in the house our mothers built, nurturing the world in the midst of our starvation. The Keeper sets the record straight.
Hey, greetings.
Oh, boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
How you doing?
Fine. And exciting.
Yes, we are all excited. Listen, I'm on location, but I'll be, in one place in just a second. But just to get this thing started, I want to welcome everyone to Show Up, Show Out. This is our very first event of the series Show Up and Show Out, which is really, we're doing the work to document, to chronicle, and to archive the works of women and girls throughout hip hop music and culture globally. And so it's our aim with this series that we, use our platform to invite folks in to share with us what women are doing across the world, how we're using hip hop, what does the work look like? What are our challenges? How are we imagining things? What do we need? And it's really like having these conversations in whatever languages that folks speak, and inviting the world in to learn, to share, and to understand, how hip hop has developed and like what hip hop is looking like on the ground in various parts of the world. So my name is Akua Naru. I'm an MC extraordinaire, and I'm actually I'm the founder of the Keepers Collective, and actually the inventor of the archive. Right now, we're raising money to build the first comprehensive digital database archive, which will document women's artistic work throughout hip hop music and culture across, a 50-year history. And so as Ed said, like, I'm super excited to be here and to be one of the hosts of this conversation this afternoon. I have my dear friend and sister, Azmera Hamori Davis, on this call, and Ed Wheeler, who is all the way in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I'm going to turn the conversation over to them. But Azmera, I just want to ask you how you feeling, like, how you doing, and how you feeling?
Yes. Thank you, Akua. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for being here. How am I feeling on this day? It is November 1st, 2020. We have made it.
Yes.
We have made it to almost, 2 months out of being past this year. And I'm feeling I'm feeling rejuvenated. Something I wasn't feeling, 3 months ago. And I think in large part it's because of this work, because there is a collective energy that's centering ways that we can fortify and sustain ourselves together, pouring life into each other, breathing life into our dreams. And that's something that you just do. That's who you are, and so I am also curious, before we pass the mic and talk to Ed about hip hop and her work as an educator, as a producer, and a hip hop artist, on top of being a lawyer in Brazil. She's been in the game in Brazil for 20 years. 20 years,
yes,
holding it down, and
on top of being a Black woman in Brazil. I mean,
right.
Yes.
Just trying to survive, and so this is what the Keepers does. It allows for us to share space and to celebrate that arduous work that goes unseen and unheard, and the vision of being able to excavate and mine that work so that the public memory, what we remember to be the contributions, are not so limited and sort of sequestered into one particular male gaze. And so I want to ask you real quick, because I know you on the go and you just finished, you do the dance, you were in Germany just like yesterday, and just before that, 2 weeks ago, we had the first ever Roses Now event honoring Dr. Patricia Rose, where, with Dr. West and Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, just comrades of yours. I mean, you just do so much, and you keep going. Like that night, you finished the event and then we're on the plane to Europe.
Right.
And now you just got back and now you're here. So I'm wondering if you can tell us, like, what sustains you in this work, or what are some, what keeps you going?
So thank you for that question, sis. In all honesty, you know, I think as I think about, I mean, as today is Sunday, so we're like, what, 2 days until the election, right? There's so much going on. I mean, as I was working with this orchestra a couple days ago, like I woke up to, you know, seeing what was happening in Philadelphia with the brother that they just murdered there. Like, it's a never ending story. And what really sustains me, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be free, or what it even means to be free. You know, I don't even know it, because I've never experienced that before. But what I do know is that can pour into community. I find that the community has sustained me, because you know, I may not be free in, you know, in this material world, but we're creating spaces of freedom, right? We're creating spaces in which we see each other, where we understand where there's acknowledgement, there's compassion, like there's love, there's justice right here within community. So I've been really feeling fortified and uplifted, and, you know, enlivened by the possibilities through community, right? And you're a part of my community, so you know, so yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But thank you so much for that question. I wanted to say this to the people watching. You know, we have so many conversations. We behind the scenes, we're always talking and sharing and learning and growing, and new ways of seeing and thinking and being and understanding. And with this series, like, we hope to do all of that as we, you know, are allowed to see into the various worlds of hip hop, you know, across the world. And so I believe in 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from today, we're going to have our next event in the series, Show Up and Show Out, the Brazilian version. And my sister Ed is going to be there, and some other amazing sisters who are on the ground doing the work. And I really want to invite y'all to stay tuned, as we will be, you know, putting out content to direct y'all to that event. So I just wanted to share that. So that'll be November 15th from 2 to 4 EST. And I just want to I want to give you all the mic so that we can hear from Ed. And, you know, so let me just pass that over to you, Azmera.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yes, we're excited for 2 weeks from now, and Ed will be one of our main sharers. So we have a preview. So I'll go ahead and translate real quick and do my best for the folks. All right, Ed. Irmã, como você está hoje conosco?
Agradeço por vocês terem me convidado. É, assim, muito importante a gente conseguir fazer toda uma integração fora do Brasil e ter toda a consciência de que a cultura hip-hop feminina passa os mesmos caminhos, os mesmos percalços, mas a ideia de sempre estar com força, ter base, família e mostrar o nosso trabalho é legal. Estou muito contente por estar aqui com o convite da Akua Naru e a gente aí poder se integrar no theKEEPERs. Legal.
Nossa, e a coisa que você disse sobre a família, sobre a base, sobre como é que nós, sendo mulheres negras, além os geográficas, além da terra, que nós estamos sempre, né, lutando para valorizar a nossa vida. E eu queria que você compartilhe mais sobre sua jornada dentro do hip hop e como você, né, alcançou para a Akua para falar sobre esse projeto. Você tem sua visão lá no Rio de Janeiro sobre como é que nós precisamos institucionalizar esse trabalho dentro do Estado. Então, você pode falar um pouco mais sobre isso para a gente?
Como você colocou para a Akua, Naru, eu já estou há 20 anos fazendo todo um trabalho, inclusive com o grupo feminino As Damas do Rap. Foi o primeiro grupo aqui no Rio de Janeiro a ter um trabalho fonográfico dentro do hip hop. E, ao mesmo tempo, a ideia sempre foi dar voz para a periferia, de onde a gente vem, sempre colocando as questões onde o Estado ele não está nos provendo, né? Questão de educação, segurança, sobre saúde, enfim, a gente vê que não se tem uma oportunidade para o nosso povo, inclusive para as mulheres, inclusive as mulheres negras, né? E, de uma forma, a gente acaba vendo dentro das letras do rap que nós, enquanto as mulheres, sempre estamos debatendo os mesmos temas, né? A gente fala sobre racismo, sobre a questão do aborto, a gente também fala sobre a questão da mulher não ter a devida importância dentro do mercado de trabalho, e isso é universal. Então, quando eu pude ter o contato de saber que as ideias, né, toda essa prática política da Akua Naru é a mesma que a gente vê como a cultura hip hop ela tem um conceito e um laço de uma base que a gente precisa, com conhecimento, jogar isso tanto para as mulheres, mas para a juventude, para fazer com que esse retrocesso que a gente tem da nossa cultura quanto escravidão e quanto a questão de sempre ver a mulher como submissa, como sempre abaixando a cabeça e não podendo se colocar, isso é universal. Então, acho que isso é que faz com que a gente consiga, hoje em dia, inclusive com as redes sociais, ter um contato muito mais rápido e poder trocar ideia. Eu acho que com a cara e a coragem, fui no Instagram. Akua, você tem a mesma ideia, a gente precisa ter um catálogo, um banco, onde a gente consiga mostrar o nosso trabalho, seja na Europa, seja no Brasil, nos Estados Unidos, mas de uma forma que a gente veja de que forma, com que qualidade a gente ajuda uma a outra fazendo um mercado alternativo dentro do hip hop. Acho que isso que está faltando, demonstrar que existem mulheres em todos os elementos, na parte, inclusive, que indiretamente, como produção, como edição, a gente também está ali colocando no nosso serviço, e porque isso não consegue ser mais explorado. Por que isso não demonstra aí um percentual da nossa ajuda e contribuição dentro da cultura hip hop? Aí eu falei, bom, o não a gente já tem. Agora, vou mandar um e-mail para ela e tudo mais, e vamos agregar aí as forças. Muito legal, porque a Akua foi super solícita. Ed, vamos embora, vamos cair dentro, conseguir unir as nossas forças.
Nossa, obrigada. Na verdade, você disse tanto, e eu queria, faz certo que a audiência entender tudo que você disse, então eu vou traduzir um pouquinho, mas eu estou, né, recebendo tudo que você disse e amplificando isso. Okay, great. So what I asked, just so that the folks can know what Ed is speaking to, is initially I asked her, if she can talk a little bit about what brings her to this work, and also when she reached out to Akua, her vision is so clear, and she's not only been in this work for 20 plus years, but she's also been organizing at the nexus of the state, community organizing, academia. As Black women, we know it's like we're all dancing between these different lines, of communication to assert our and dignify our lives. And so I asked her to talk a little bit about what called her to this. And she talked, she centered the fact that job security, housing security, food security, health security, winning the opportunities for women within the job market, those are all universal issues that she's seen in Brazil and that she saw in political praxis for Akua. And when she saw the Keepers and the work that the Keepers was doing to fight against racism, sexism, abortion, these types of things that our community faces through dignifying our artistry and our livelihood in this way, she knew that this was, it only made sense to amplify this work and to see how we can further create some sort of space to collaborate. She talked about how this work is rooted in, right, the enslavement of going back to the transatlantic slave trade. She talked about escravidão, enslavement, and how this is something that women, not only women, but especially young girls and young people need to see. The power of seeing ourselves in reflected in our media and in our social networks is something that's imperative. So she saw that there was a similar idea that Akua had that she had already been working on, and she said, you know what, this makes sense. Let's go ahead and see how we can fortify these efforts. And so she's here with us today. I'm going to ask her maybe one more question, and then I know we're going to pass the mic because there is so much that the lovely Belgium team has prepared for folks. Cool. And Akua, feel free to chime in if there's a question that you'd want Ed to respond to.
Yes, I do have a question. I'm going to ask my question in just a second.
Beautiful. Okay, awesome, sis. So, Ed, você pode falar um pouquinho sobre sua jornada dentro do hip hop, tipo, sendo uma performer? Você faz arte performance, né? Então, você é essa maravilha dinâmica mulher. Você pode falar sobre a realidade agora dentro do hip hop, a cultura do hip hop no Brasil? Como você veja essa realidade se manifesta?
Sem ter uma questão de gênero, a cultura hip hop no Brasil ela conseguiu avançar um degrau muito importante. Acho que com esse mercado todo virtual, a gente teve uma alternativa, inclusive na questão valor econômico mesmo, da coisa ser muito mais prática. Hoje a gente consegue produzir bases e colocar voz e poder ter um videoclipe por um celular, não é uma coisa que tenha todo aí um aparato financeiro que isso era muito para a gente. Então, no Brasil, a gente tem vários grupos que são super famosos, tanto masculino como feminino. A gente tem MV Bill, tem Racionais, tem Vera Verônica, tem Atitude Feminina, tem a Preta Ari, a Negra Rô, enfim, todas a gente consegue estar agora dentro de um mercado e de uma mídia, né? Mas para as mulheres, e aí não é só a questão de ser rappers, mas como grafiteiras, como big girls, como também editoras de videoclipe, enfim, produtoras musicais, isso ainda não se alcançou. Falta mesmo, acho que a visibilidade que tem que ser dado, até também as meninas como DJs, falta visibilidade, falta credibilidade naquilo que elas estão se propondo a fazer e ter isso como, olha, elas também têm a mesma qualidade do serviço. Vamos deixar que exista esse mercado também para as mulheres. E aí, especificamente no Rio de Janeiro, a gente também, aqui no Brasil, por questões regionais, alguns estilos musicais até são mais importantes do que o outro, ou a mídia acaba dando muito mais ênfase. Então, no Rio de Janeiro, inclusive, o funk hoje é algo que acaba as pessoas sabendo, mas você faz rap, você faz hip hop ou você é do funk? Por quê? Porque hoje o que está na moda aqui para a gente é o trap. E aí, quem tem toda uma bagagem que a gente tem lá de trás do início dos anos 90, pensando, olha, a rap é conscientização, é educação, é tirar a juventude, inclusive, das drogas, enfim, acaba vendo na letra do trap algo que não leva essa questão de educação. Mas a gente tem que entender que faz parte de todo um novo contexto da mídia e é a nova geração que está vindo aí com um estilo que a gente também tem que ter todo o respeito. a gente é formado por África Bambata, né? Então, tem essa ligação de achar assim, olha, o rap salva vidas, é o que a gente sempre fala nas nossas lives aqui no Rio de Janeiro. Então, precisa ter um pouco mais de consciência para a gente saber em quem a gente vota direito, em quais são as mulheres, inclusive, que pode nos representar e ser referência, não deixar as pessoas totalmente alienadas, porque isso a gente está vendo que não está trazendo o benefício que a periferia necessita.
Linda, eu vou compartilhar agora. Você trouxe tantas ideias importantes, and I want to be mindful of time. I know that we have a short minute, and this is like such a sweet pocket for folks to get a taste of what Ed is going to be talking about 2 weeks from now on November 15th. In short, I will say that I asked Ed like what she sees for the reality of hip hop contemporarily right now, and she brought up a few different points around the market and ways. We all know hip hop isn't just the music. There's different elements, right? There's graffiti, B-girl, B-boy dancing. There's the DJs, the spinners, and we also know that there's the market of the image, which is often what travels most quickly and what people see. And so she commented on how there is that market of the image. You have folks like Negra Ho, Preta Rara, Vera Veronica, Racionais, dope people in the hip hop world in Brazil who are doing that work, but there still is a fault in, or a lacuna in visibility for women DJs in hip hop, women graffiti artists, B-girls, musical producers, which is something I know I can name. I'm like, it's so beautiful to see how, with part of Akua's vision for theKEEPERs, we'll be able to create the resources to get women to understand what it means to make music. And I can name, I'm learning that as I go, just as a part of the collective. And so I think that's a really important piece I want to lift up before we pass the mic.
Well, really quickly, and thank you so much, Ed. I can't understand what you're saying directly, but I could feel all of that. I feel it. You know, we've had conversations even outside of this, and it's been always amazing. I just have one question for you before we segue, because we have a performance, and I'm very much looking forward to. And we just want to be mindful of time. But what are you listening to right now in terms of hip hop? Busta Rhymes' new album came out on Friday. It's dope. Busta, you all know I love Busta Rhymes. He did not disappoint. I'm just wondering, what are you listening to? And if there's anything you might be able to put us onto here, you know, outside of Brazil, you know, that we might need to be listening to.
Você entendeu, Ed?
Não, mais ou menos.
Ok. Ela
quer,
a última pergunta que ela quer, ela te agradece e também quer saber o que é que você está escutando hoje. Que é a música que você está escutando, que você pode compartilhar com o mundo fora do Brasil para escutar dentro do hip hop?
A gente consegue aqui dentro do Brasil ter vários estilos musicais que acaba agregando no hip hop. Então a gente tenta ao máximo não ficar preso só a escutar ou R&B ou rap. Aqui a gente pode escutar bossa nova e samba, porque faz muito sentido para a gente. Vim no Nordeste com a parte do repente também. Então a gente pode estar aqui escutando tanto Milton Nascimento, como o Djavan, como o Zeca Pagodinho, e que tudo isso faz sentido para a gente poder colocar nas nossas letras, né? E no nosso estilo de música também. Agora, fora do Brasil, lógico, eu gosto de Queen Latifah, gosto de Busta Rhymes, e escuto de tudo.
Busta Rhymes tem esse novo álbum que ele compartilhei, né? Ele compartilhou. Você já escutou?
Já escutei. E a minha musa é a Miss Elliott. Eu acho assim que ela consegue agregar tudo o que a gente precisa e demonstrar que eu acho que assim, é uma força tremenda de como a mulher dentro do hip hop faz. E muito bem.
Que maravilha!
Let's put together a list for folks, like in preparation for the next conversation on the 15th, like let's publish a list. Folks could, from wherever they are, they can enter into this world of women's work, you know what I mean, with regard, like within Brazilian hip hop. Like, let's publish a list so that we can be listening and we can have a point of entry. I'm so looking forward. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Listen, without further ado, I would love to introduce the Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria, she is a member of the Keepers team. She holds us down on social media. She's a dear friend of mine. She's about to hit us with this performance of one of my favorite tracks of hers called Hallelujah.
Heard they out here wanna pray hallelujah, but that won't stop no show. Wish me well, then they pray hallelujah, betting on my downfall. As a youngin', I thought if I only pray hallelujah, I can get my mama out this hellhole. Tell me, can you hear the hymn? Hallelujah. From the other side, cry out. May the ancestors guide me home, but home not for certain. I've been jumping house to house, feeling like I'm a burden. I've been trying to find a job, but that shit barely working. The fuck I go to college for, feel like it wasn't worth it. That shit was free though, so I can't complain. The niggas lucked up. They say a loss is just a lesson and you learn something tough. My man said you got a war like how you ride for your bitch. She ain't a bitch, but when you put it like that, had to step my grind up, quick rewind it. Never make the same mistakes twice, keep my guard up. Fast forward now, I'm on my shit, feeling gnarly. Got the Royals and they loyal, ain't no time to parlay. What a fuck boy, fuck no. You not on the list, so you not welcome to my table. Remember when they shitted on me, thought I was a fable. Present time they wanna know my story. This that real life, real strife, and you know how I'm coming. Wanna pray hallelujah, but that won't stop no show. Wish me well, then they pray hallelujah. They know my downfall. As a youngin', I thought if I only pray hallelujah, I can get my mama out this hellhole. Tell me, can you hear the hymn? Hallelujah. From the other side, cry out. May the ancestors guide me home where the heart is, where I be at. Nomad on the move, home is where my feet land. All the bros top like kings, I'm where the fleet at. And I don't want trouble, but no, a niggas with that. If I grab the ski mask, then it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Or we could talk about a bag, get gold and make free. Stay gold and stay free. On the humble, but ain't meek. From dirt to wings, no longer with a cage bird sing. And silence of silence. The darkness is violent. The darkness is blinded, but all eyes are widened. In my formation, building to my destination. Been guys, kings, queens, royal blood in our veins, there ain't no vaccination. They say I talk crazy, that's fear the chain break. Either want me a brother dead forever in chain gang, screaming glory, hallelujah, for your prayers answered. Might leave you blessed with the hairs cursed. Sleep well on a prayer, hallelujah. But that won't stop no show. Wish me well, then they pray, hallelujah. Betting on my downfall. As a youngin', I thought if I only pray, hallelujah, I can get my mama out this hellhole. Tell me, can you hear the hymn? Hallelujah. From the other side, cry out. May the ancestors guide me home.
Our artistry, work, contributions considered small, minimal, invisible. Read as trespassers in the house our mothers built, nurturing the world in the midst of our starvation. The Keeper sets the record straight.
Yes, yes, yes. That was Queen Victoria hitting us with Hallelujah. Wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying this. I'm very excited about what's to come. Right now, my dear sister Rachida Aziz is joining me in conversation. Rachida, are you there? Rachida? Y'all, listen, it's real life. What can I tell y'all? It's real life. This is the virtual life. When you trying to get people to be where they supposed to be, but you looking at through the internet. So it's real life. So this is the moment where I'm saying places, people, people, and trying to get folks to their place.
But listen, yes, the keepers, we're doing the work. If you don't know, for those who just tuned in, we are building a, oh, how you doing, sis?
Hey there.
Yes, let me just finish this point. We are building a digital database archive which will chronicle, document women's artistic work throughout 5 decades of hip hop music and culture. We're doing the work to make this a resource, this groundbreaking resource, available to the public for free. So I'm very excited about that. We have all kinds of other events and programs that we're working on as we're trying to raise money now. And so we hope that, you'll see the site right now, followthekeepers.com. You can go to followthekeepers.com/donate and donate. If you are in Europe, there are bank transfer details that are listed on the website. You can also donate through the GoFundMe page. Go to followthekeepers.com for more information. Go to @followthekeepers on Instagram if you want to stay tuned in. And we are the Keepers on Facebook and @WeTheKeepers on Twitter. Welcome, Rachida Aziz, all the way from Brussels, Belgium.
Brussels. Thank you, sis. That was an awesome introduction. You got it by heart now, right? I still have to.
Yes, it's in my heart, like my heart. Yes.
I'll try to do it next time.
Yes.
I'll take it over next time. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Because, I mean, the last days trying to get a hold on you, traveling between Germany, the United States, and the jet lag and the orchestra rehearsals and the managing this platform like crazy. I mean, yeah, you're the queen.
Oh, I mean, a queen among queens, right?
Yep.
I just, as I said to Azmera, like, community has been my saving grace. And so we're just trying to build this community and do the work that we've always wanted to do. And we can't do it, with the people, you know what I mean? Like,
I also feel like what Azmera said earlier, it's indeed, we're doing a lot of work, but it's not like that's new to us for starting. But what is new is, the level at which we are connecting, at which we are evolving and growing. And indeed, the feeling of everything that is happening this last month is just so motivating. And, because people often tell us, like, when do you do all this kind of work and when do you rest? But I get so much energy from this lately. I mean, we've been doing the work without getting much back, but like lately it's just, I mean, around us it's exploding of great energy everywhere, and we can all feel that finally something is happening for real. We feel this change, we feel a transformation going on, and yeah, it's carrying us.
Right. I feel the same way. I mean, last month I was with you in Brussels, and I felt that everyone was talking about the keepers. It was very important from the beginning for us to not think about this as sort of a U.S. centered project, right? Yeah. We want to decentralize the United States. Hip hop is a global phenomenon, and we wanted to look at what the work of women and girls across the world. And to be, outside of this country in different places, to be talking to Ed all the way in Rio, or talking to Mel Duarte in Sao Paulo, or Jessica Balbino, or Ina in Senegal, or Ruby in Canada, like, it's powerful because we're here. And for us to do this work to, sort of pull now from the margins, like to say, like, no, like what Toni Morrison was saying, like, we're going to do this work from the margins. The margin now is the center. Like, we're going to do the work to excavate and to, to gather women's work in the culture so that the world can, the world can now sort of come in contact with the magnitude of women's work. I mean, there isn't an organization doing this work. Not, and I mean, and I'm not saying that with pride, I'm saying that because it should have been,
We have been doing it around the globe in very small and local projects, and it should have been global because hip hop is a global culture. You know, I was born and raised in the 70s and throughout the 80s here in this small, you know, corner on the planet. I grew up with hip hop, with American hip hop, and it meant something to us back then already. And it really, in all my experience in art and culture, in grassroots art and culture, I mean, the biggest part of it has always been a hip hop culture. And the experience with Le Space, we experienced exactly the same thing that you are experiencing where you are and you have been, and that's that we see a lot of great women doing great artists, women doing great work and not being acknowledged, not being visible. And, you know, here in Belgium also we have hip hop culture being appropriated by this white bobo concept of urban art run by white men. You know, and it's something that is really similar all over wherever we have met people from the grassroots within the hip hop culture. It's something that grew similarly. I mean, patriarchy and capitalism and all these things that our people are suffering from are global concepts. And thus hip hop as a language created by pain and through pain and suffering, a language created by people that were determined to liberate themselves from that condition and to use that as their tool. This is something a lot of grassroots, I mean, people, artists all over the world have experienced. And there was just nowhere the acknowledgement of the magnitude of how we experienced hip hop in our lives and in our world.
Right. I wanted to just take a moment to give the folks some context to our relationship and sort of how we came together. Actually, I don't know if many people know, but as I was thinking about the Keepers, right? So for some of y'all who know, I'm a touring artist. Like I've been on tour for like, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years. We've been doing about 100 shows a year. And then this year, you know, I had my passport one day and I was heading to the airport and Corona looked at me and said to me, girl, sit your ass down. You ain't going nowhere. And I said, oh, okay. And I've been sitting down ever since. Right. So it was you know, interesting for me to sort of be still and be in one place. The opportunity in that, though, was that it allowed me to think through this project in ways that I may not have had I not been forced to sit down. I have been building this archive for about 2 years. I was at Harvard for a year. It was where I sort of came across this the concept, right, where I started like collecting this data and categorizing it in a particular way. And then at some point, I was talking to Trisha Rose about it, and she was like, "Oh, this is actually a database. Like, this is an archive." And then I said, "Oh, interesting. I guess, you know," she kind of named it and it helped me make sense of it in a certain way. And I had been trying to raise money for it because I just feel that hip hop is the most listened to music in the world. I mean, this is fact. Like, this is not an opinion, right? It's the most streamed music in the world. I mean, as a traveler, like I see it show up in various ways, right? Consistently everywhere. And I think it's very important that we look to hip hop to understand sort of how how various communities are like forming identities and how people are thinking about things and looking at sets of practices. It's just a very important lens through which we can understand so many things. And the fact that, you know, we still don't understand the magnitude of women's work and that we're not looking at women and that we're still entering hip hop through the male gaze, that doesn't sit comfortably with me. And so I say that to say that, you know, I've been fighting for resources for this archive for about 2 years. And then in this sort of Corona season, I started thinking about the power of organization and like thinking about community and how community has been my saving grace. And actually, I think you were among the first, maybe there were about 2 or 3 people that I had contacted, and you were the first person that I spoke to about this project. And I was just talking to you about it, and I think, well, you remember, and I was like, what do you think? And you were like, listen, this is amazing. Like, let's do this. Like, from since then, we've been kind of building, you know, we've had people in different parts of the world, like building a cohort, right? So, I mean, what were you thinking? Like when we first had that initial conversation, you didn't, I mean, it was amazing that you didn't think I was crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, I do think you're crazy, but that's why I love you. But
For other reasons.
yeah. No, what I thought is that it made totally sense knowing who you are and what work you do, who I am and what work I do. I mean, when we met about 10 years ago, I don't know if you remember, the first conversation we had is when you called me up out of the blues. And when I took up the phone, you said, "Hi, Rachida. This is Akua, your sister from another mother. We just haven't been introduced to each other yet."
Right. You always said that. I don't remember.
Yeah, you said that. And I'm like, oh, wow, cool.
Like, it sounds like me though. Can y'all imagine, for the people tuned in, like you don't even know I exist. And like, I call you up. I was in another country and I'm trying to get her. She designed clothes, and I was trying to get her to, you know, to design some clothes or to give me some clothes. And I just call her up.
Later, we spent the weekend together at Brussels, having a lot of fun, and we connected immediately. Yeah, and it's also because you had discovered my work, and it reflected your political vision in your work as an artist, and you felt that you need to reach out, and that we sisters have to support each other with our artistic projects and invest in each other. So you have always been a keeper, Akua. That's just who you are. So it made totally sense to me when you proposed this. I'm like, and knowing that I was, you know, what mood I was also in at that moment, right after Corona hit. I was also like, you know, the world around us was paralyzed, but people like you and me, we all of a sudden started like, you know, working 16 hours a day because we were just bursting of imagination of everything this crisis actually made possible for grassroots builders and organizers like us. So I was already in a moment like where I was thinking of, what are the big connections we can make right now? Because this is the moment that those big connections have to be made, that the work on the ground has to start being connected globally. And then you came with this, and I'm like, okay. Coincidence, anyone? I think not.
Right. I'm so excited. I mean, since, you know, in the last few months, you know, I've been in conversation with so many people. I've met so many amazing women through this project from all over the world. It's unbelievable. It's even hard to talk about. I get so emotional when I think about it. It's amazing because, you know, people know that hip hop we all know how important this culture is, right?
Mm-hmm.
How vast. And, you know, and the fact that, you know, we need more defense of women, of our humanity, of our artistry, you know, and on the front lines, like in this culture, period. So this is just a segue really quickly. I just want to remind folks that we are raising money. We just raised around a little over $21,000 through GoFundMe. Through Indiegogo, which is amazing. Like, I'm so appreciative. Anyone watching, if you donated, if you shared, if you offered a support just through positive thought, you know, a mind, like I'm grateful to you. But for us to build this archive, we need a lot. So that was our first sort of, that was our first milestone goal. We're still raising money so that we can build this resource. So if you are able to, it would be wonderful if you could donate, share, support by checking out the link, followthekeepers.com/donate.
And all the information is there.
And show up and show out for your Black and brown sisters, for art. Show up and show out.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm very excited also to introduce a few new women artists to you later on, Akua. Some great people also from Brussels and from the UK that have also joined this beautiful project. Shamma is also Smoked Poets. She's an unbelievable revolutionary hip hop artist doing the hard grassroots works on the floor and doing the work there, connected to her homeland and to the struggle there, connected to the Palestinian struggle, and all of that reflected in her day-to-day music, because she's like, she really knows how to use her music also as a weapon in the struggle, and very focused around that. I learned so much from her, so I'm really excited to talk to her later. There will also be Yipoon. Yipoon is also a dear friend of mine and a pioneer hip hop artist in Brussels. She is a big girl. She's a dancer. She's a choreographer. She's a singer. She's a musician. She's an actor. She's the multi-talented hip hop artists, like we know them. But first there will be Dushime, and Dushime is when I'm in a space where Dushime is singing, that little phrase that we wrote on Facebook, it's just words, but the feelings when you're there, it's just amazing to really have this Black woman in the middle of an audience. I say the middle because the last time I saw her perform, she was like in the middle and there was a crowd around her. And all this energy that we were feeling, there was not one dry eye in the whole public. And you could just feel the whole place be elevated. And so, that's why I wanted also to introduce her to you and to the public and get to know a little bit better about her work, because I think we're going to hear more about her. So first there's going to be a performance up now from Dushime. And then after her performance, we come back to talk to Dushime and Shamma and Yipoon.
Nice.
Hi. Hello. I'm Shimi. Nice meeting you guys. I'm gonna do 2 songs for you tonight. The first one is called Strangers in Despair.
Strangers in despair, wanting to say a prayer. Nobody knows the escape. We're all so afraid. Oh, 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 yeah, oh. You can hear them screaming, you can hear them shouting, while they're reaching for the same lives, love, so, yeah, so, on the ground, hey, hey. Hear them screaming, hear them shouting, while they're reaching on the ground, you can hear the silence of love, yeah, underground, yeah, yeah. You can hear the silent sound, yeah, 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 underground, yeah, yeah, You can hear the silent sound. Yeah, 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 underground. Yeah, yeah. You can hear the silent sound. Yeah, 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 underground. Yeah, yeah. You can hear the silent sound. Yeah, yeah, underground. You can hear the silent sound. Yeah, 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 underground. Yeah, you can hear the silent sound. Underground. You can hear the silent sound.
So yeah, this song was called "Strangers in Despair," and the next one I will perform is called "A Path." I hope you guys enjoy it.
Oh, 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 open your eyes. Oh, it's not too bright. Don't be afraid to not be alone. So don't you stress when they pass you by. 'Cause the path is laid for everyone. Yeah, for everyone. I know that fear is all you've got. And trust is where to find. So don't you stress when they pass you by. 'Cause the path is laid for everyone. For everyone. Well, don't do they? 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 Do-do-do-do-day. 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 So don't you stray. So don't don't you stray. I said, don't you stray. I said, don't you stray. Don't you stray. No, don't you stray. I said, don't you stray. I said, don't you stray. Oh, no, don't. I said, don't you stray. I said, don't. Yeah, don't. Yeah, don't. Oh, don't. Oh,
Thank you. So yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me? Oh, hi. I'm back. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Andie. That was magical. Yipoon is in the house.
Thank you.
Yeah, now I'm not late. Bah oui, je vais bien. Je suis pas en retard cette fois-ci. Mais merci Andie d'avoir partagé une partie de ton âme créative, en tout cas. Ah, j'étais dedans là, je suis partie. Je suis en train de me réveiller d'un autre rêve. Donc, je te remercie d'être ici. Et toi, comment vas-tu, Rachida?
Je vais bien, je vais bien. Very excited about having this conversation. Être ici.
Et toi, comment
Shamma is with us.
Hey!
Hey, Shamma!
How are you, sis?
Hey, we made it. This time. All here.
Yeah.
Hi, Yipoon. Hey, Dushime. This is cool.
There's a bit of an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a bit of an echo. Echo, yeah. You don't have echo. You hear me well?
Okay.
Wow.
It's me. I forgot to close the Facebook Live. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. I went live.
We're good now. Echo is gone.
Wow.
Andie, want to start have a bit of a chat with you about the moment we just shared first, if you don't mind. I know you've been writing, especially for us tonight. Can you share about what was inspiring you, what was carrying you while you were writing this and the subject of it?
Yeah, thank you, by the way. That was really nice. Thank you for giving me the space as well. Hi, lovely ladies.
Hi.
Hey.
By the way, I felt that, man. That was touching.
Thank you. So yeah, I don't know if you really, I've been, I mean, lately, I think also just the last years in my life, there's something that has changed within me. I feel like I've had these stories of other people inside of me, and like more of like my ancestors, more like I feel them more. And sometimes, I mean, I just always start with just sounds, and yeah, to be honest, it's more like it's not me writing it, to be honest. Sometimes I feel like it's like God telling me you have to write this. I mean, it's just I'm writing and then everything comes together, and then afterwards I'm like listening to it, and it's like sometimes it's a bit scary because I don't know where it comes from, but it's very therapeutic for me. And yeah, I think Strangers in Despair, the first song, I just wrote it like a couple of days ago. The song was I don't know, the lyrics were just more, I think it's just the times that we're living in right now. There's just so much bad shit happening, and especially towards Black people. And yeah, so that kind of inspired me. And also, I think Strangers in Despair, I'm talking about all of us in a way, um, us wanting to escape. We don't know the escape, but we just want to have, we want to say a prayer. We don't know the escape. We're also afraid. Yeah, I think it's just the human being, the humanity right now for me. Um, but there's still hope. So for me, like sound is something for me that really, yeah, sound for me is God. So that for me, I really hold on to that. And so, yeah.
You're also very focused towards positive
Mhm.
vibes and positive evolutions with your people, and just creating this spaces in which we look together forward. I also
Mhm.
always feel that energy in your work, that it's all about believing in it and putting the positive vibe out there,
Mhm.
putting
Mhm.
that energy, creating that energy, and then just letting the synergy take like some kind of, I would call that witchery. Like the women that I know
Yeah.
all have this special kind of magical gift that
Mhm.
they use to transform the world around them.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think for me, that definitely resonates with me.
True.
That because for me, like the most important thing, even when whatever that I do, if it's acting, performing, or you're just making music, it's about bringing people together in this one space, and just even if it's just a minute or an hour, that we can generally all that there is this like that we're all just connected, and that for a moment that everybody knows like we all matter and we're all here and there is some kind of love. And that for me, that's truly the only thing that keeps me alive, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hold on to that, and I try to create also towards that kind of energy. And yeah.
And away from the negative energy, with a very clear intent also of doing that, because we've had conversations where we talked about this phenomenon of cancel culture that
Mhm.
we call is something that you feel very saddened about that it's happening, and it's
Yeah.
something you try your very best to turn away from and try and make us turn towards each other through your work,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think for me, I mean, I get it in a way, but sometimes it's just like we just need to like check ourselves on how do you say I don't know, there's just so much negativity, and I mean you cannot really run from it. But yeah, for me, I don't know, I don't try to look at it, but I see myself do it as well sometimes, because you're just tired of it. You're tired of always explaining yourself, and especially as a Black
Yes.
woman, and people expecting you to explain everything for them, and and like kind of reliving the traumas or whatever. And but yeah, it's a very difficult topic for me. I'm still like navigating through it, to be honest. I'm still like finding some kind of balance.
It
Yeah.
is very difficult. Yeah, it's difficult for all of us involved, I'm sure, in trying to, fighting for the liberation struggle. Um, there's that, and there's many other aspects of, I just call it, patriarchy and capitalism and racism, being part of who we are, because we all served in those armies of patriarchy and sexism and racism. So
Mhm.
it is a constant process of, we can call it healing. We do call it often a healing process, but that healing process would imply also detoxification from all those um, negative energies, and to do that through the work that we do, to do that through the connections that we make, to try and build ways in which we turn away from the toxic aspects that we carry with us, and that we are always, of course, in very hard situations, having to fight this in survival situations. I mean, we always say the struggle is real, because the struggle is real, the suffering is real, our people are hurting deep, right? And so all these things, that we carry with us through, first of all, centuries of oppression, and all what it means to carry that generation after generation, to try to stay mentally healthy against all odds, and at the same time building a healing process, right?
Yeah, definitely. I
Very true.
even about
I
like
agree.
that healing process for me really like happened. I remember like 3 years ago, like accepting for yourself. I like telling yourself out loud like you are broken and that's okay. And that was a very purifying moment, but also a very scary moment. But then also, yeah, this
Open
is
the
for me, I
window.
feel like even making art, like creating music, and even this platform right here, and what hip hop is about for me. It was about, I mean, it's still about just talking your own truth, talking about what you're going through, but then the most like using something horrible like a trauma or whatever, and turning it into something very beautiful, into into something meaningful, and yeah, that is such a beautiful thing to do, and for me that's something I aspire always to do, to just, I don't know, there is just there is light, there is so much light, but
Like
just
light.
be open to see it and to like genuinely feel it, and give and receive. That's for me something very important. It's about giving and receiving and having those balances.
Giving and receiving. Yipoon, ça résonne chez toi
Yeah,
aussi,
guys.
ça?
I let you hear, I let you speaking, and I'm listening to you deeply. And because I'm a dancer, so I'm just, my language is the movement. So it's I'm just I receive all that things. So I'm so drinking all the things, and I'm agree. So that's why. And there is some kind of details of with the sounds, with if we spoken for us. I can hear you. That's why I'm just letting people speaking, and let some, the Wi-Fi and all that stuff, and this super duper virtual reality. And so I'm just agree. So I'm just let it, because you all guys, your elements, the music and the spoken words, da, 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 da. I'm just started like that, but before I was a background from a dance as a dancer. So I'm just listening to you because you speak good.
But tell us
I dance good.
as a dancer. We also want to find out about you as a dancer. Et on peut faire ça en français. Mais oui, ton parcours nous intéresse.
Yeah, if it's pity if I speak in French, then Shamma, she didn't get it, So I'm gonna make this. You see, this the Franglish sometimes, and
I can help translate a bit afterwards, no worries. Otherwise, but who is Yipoon? Qui est Yipoon? Pour ceux qui ne la connaissent pas, parce que here in Belgium, Shamma, this is not an introduction of Yipoon, because we know her from her multi-talented, multi-gifted.
Sorry, I never die. I never die.
No. And yeah, great dancer, great singer, but also an MC, a femc, a B-girl, and a presentator. And she's like a humorist also, and an actor, right?
Yeah, this is all my sunshine. My sunshine have a beautiful rainbow of colors.
Yeah, but especially for most and for all, you're a very complete person before you became this complete artist. And that's what I think in your story is also interesting. It's your strength as a person, and how you build your environment, and how you went for something that you believed in so hard, also against all odds and you fought for it and believed in it, and you're still here. And just that, knowing in what context and condition you've been doing that in is, for me, something I admire a lot about you. But let me, give it back to you.
Yeah, well,
maybe you should to see. I'm gonna make the promo. I'm gonna make the promo. Maybe you should to see the Apsara solo. It's a talk about all the story about how I'm dancing now, and how I have to put this dress of this male and female and this male attitude on hip hop to be accepted yeah, you see, you get me, Shamma. If you don't get me, tell me, because my Banglish Belgian-glish is no, and I hope that I'm not gonna speak in Cambodia because there is so different language. And I'm sorry, Cambodian, and I feel like when I listen to Andie or when I listen to Shamma, all your emotions way inside about the music, how it's like a therapy. I'm really on this. I really follow. I get you with that things. For me, it's a dance more because maybe, yeah, I had this struggle to not on my background from politic refugees from Cambodia. We had a genocide, so I born there. I don't have to run. My parents have to run, so but I run with not with my feet. So you get me. But but there is these things like I can get it. Like for me now, when I listen to the way that you're feeling and the struggle for that time, 2020. My vision from personal is like we are so just experiment this human being's life, you know, and how it's let it shine. For me, there is like a struggle. Like I am from the Cambodian tradition, culture, education. Sorry, I had some struggle to. Because when I was 7, we have this initiation to dancing. Cambodian dance is like 5,000 gesture to spoke to tell the mythologic story of my country, and I feel that there is this thing about my parents to give this heritage of the culture. Don't forget the culture and all that stuff. I have this pressure about my parents to be a good Cambodian, married with a Cambodian, have a house, you know, have a good job and all that thing. And I was I was an outsider. And I know when I was young, they always said to me that I have to shut my mouth. So for me, because I have to shut my mouth, that's why I dancing. Maybe, you know, this is my opinion for me. But I had to. I saw some stuff, some bad stuff on that time, and I didn't have this this time to go to have this lesson dance on that time. They didn't have. We living on this social hood. We have no money, but we're living good. Where my parents sent me on the good college, something like this, you know, but it didn't work. And finally, when we arrived in Brussels at 18, so I have a boyfriend, rock and roll, that stuff and all that stuff. But after that, I saw some festival of hip hop in Brussels, and there is like some dancers on the stage. They are all from Belgium and Brussels, all that stuff. And I have like, you know, this kind of crush, like fall in love, but not on someone, but fall in love that you're feeling like from the inside is burning. Like this is this energy. I like the way that he give into this soul is really beautiful. This beautiful color, you know. And step by step, I have like, I don't know, it's really funny, and it's just like connection. And how can I say it? I should say it in French because it's really like just funny because it's like I found on that time I convinced my parents to have an apartment, you know, and I had a key. And I have a job, like, and I have the school also. And the day I had a key, the day before the job il est tombé en faillite. Comment on dit? Bankrupt, something like this. Il est tombé faillite comme ça.
Bankrupt.
So I had these things that I cannot go back to my parents and say like it's not working. That you're right. That it's not gonna work. And so I had be faced to these things that this is the first day I had an apartment. I had no money. So I decided to dancing outside to make money, and play with percussion, like African percussion, somehow sometimes, or dancing. If there is someone coming play the drums, I can the percussion and dancing. But I try to do the things because I like it to do that, because when I was young, I was dancing like Cambodian dance, and the Cambodian dance is like music, voice, and body. They the Trinity, they tell a story, and there is something sacred, and I think I like it. It's on my blood, I don't know, but if I have to comment tu dis give a transmission of my heritage, I just said like it's gonna be just my color. It's not gonna be the traditional color, because it's the way it is. We are running. I'm running from this country, running for another country to arrive in Europe. We always move, and by the way, with dancing, I went to Africa, I went to everywhere, and I didn't expect it to dancing, honestly, but when I realized that hip hop exists in Belgium. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it exists in the United States with MTV and all that stuff, but I didn't believe that it's possible. So it was like that to see some people dancing like with smile. I didn't give a fuck that it's a male or a female, but this is the energy of the hip hop. And I was falling in love with this, and so I was non-stop dancing until 6 months, and I met the guys that I met before that. I said, "Wow, guys, you are amazing! What the fuck?" And all that guys, they're all on the same crew. I didn't know that, and that's the things, like the coincidence is like not coincidence. It's the way that I had to do it, and it started to become like my big brother. And they are rappers, they are graffiti artists, they are DJ, they are MCs, they are drummers, they are percussionists. And me before I start to dance, I play drums and a little bit bass, but I didn't have the money to have drums, and so I didn't continue. But so I saw this collective is first of all, it's called Crazy Force, with old school people that I respect and I big up now, like Sao. Now it's like Sao Suppression, and he's a really good popper on his own style. And for me, the way that my brother gave to me the vision of the dance is not there's not the male, it's not the female. They accept it because you're crazy what you're doing. And I had something to do it, because before I was boring to find something like a passion. But now I eat it, so I was so greedy. At 6 months, I made a foundation, like I make some, comment tu dis, chart. Enfin, j'ai fait comme une accélération, quoi.
You accelerated, yeah.
C'était
That's a beautiful love story. Did you see the movie Roxanne about Shantae?
No, not yet.
Oh, that's a great movie to watch, because the beginning of her story also reminds me a bit the beginning of your story, and she was a great woman rapper, but whose career didn't take off also because of the male rappers and the maleness within the in her environment when she was rapping back then. It's a beautiful, beautiful homage. Roxanne. I think someone is joining the conversation.
Qui revient? Akua, Akua.
Akua.
Hello.
Yes. I'm happy.
Shamma.
Shamma.
How are you? Or smoked poet. Where does that name come from?
Inspired by rappers and other things that inspire writing. I'm a smoker, obviously. I like smoking. It comes from that. What's in a name? I'd say most of the time.
Coherence. Coherence is important, right? As a rapper.
Yeah. Smoke poets. I don't think there's anything deep and meaningful about that name. I find labeling things kind of difficult, so I tend to stay with something simple that kind of talk about my personality a little bit and allowing my poetry to sort of do most of the talking about myself and the world around me and how I connect with the world around me and how I interpret that through hip hop. I can't see you anymore.
Yeah, but we hear you. No worries. And what is it that inspires you in your work? What is it that moves you to work?
I think the history of hip hop and how hip hop has been used across the globe by the most oppressed people, and how that has changed things, how that has become social movements, how it's spearheaded and been a part of socialist movements across the world. Hip hop is like, the theme of the resistance and the revolution, and it's something that people often say: if you if you want to have a revolution, you must be able to dance, and that's quite a key thing. But I think lots of people inspired me to become a MC. First of all, my collective in East London called 4i 2i. I was writing as a 12-year-old. I was writing mainly poetry. I was listening to bits of hip hop in school, like Bone Thugs and Harmony, Snoop Dogg, bits of MC Lyte, Lauryn Hill, of course, and things like that. So yeah, it was an accumulation of things, but also how to change things. How do we connect to people when things are tough, when fascism is rising, when at home where I'm from, occupied Kashmir is, being occupied and militarized. As a Marxist, I thought that hip hop was quite an important sort of influential tool to combine talking about Marxism as an ideology, as a strategy to change the world. So yeah, that's
what moved you. Yeah.
But also I think, being Kashmiri is really sort of, and our struggle has sort of really been a part of why I started to write, because I wanted representation for a country that people don't mostly engage with as an occupation. And it is the most militarized zone in the world. It's the Himalayas, in fact, are occupied, and these things affect, also the climate. It's imperialism, it's colonialism, it's histories that are tied with the British Empire, and a place where I'm now. I live. I was born here. Why did my parents come here? There's a relative connection to why we're here in Britain and not in Kashmir. So yeah.
Yeah, it's what makes us, right? So what moves us is the material that we're made of. We're made of our histories and combined histories, and we're in a moment of history where all of these dimensions also come together. And you're right, we don't know much about Kashmir. I try to keep informed about global struggles all over the globe, and I've heard very little about Kashmir. I've read very little about it, do you know what's behind that in terms of is there not enough diaspora outside Kashmir? No access to alternative media outlets, or?
Yeah, I feel like there is. It's an occupation, so the state does what it can to stop people reaching up. So when it was finalized that Kashmir had lost its autonomy, the state took away the internet for 344 days. There was a complete lockdown in Kashmir. No one could tell anyone what was happening inside there. You know, they use pellets to hurt the boys, they use rape to hurt the women. And all these stories of violence and also resistance we were not so aware of. I have friends who I've mostly met through Instagram, artists from Kashmir, hip-hop artists, poets, musicians, mostly from Instagram. So that was my main sort of connection to what was happening last year. But I think that most, for instance, the Palestinian movement is a global, international movement. It has a history where it's been recognized by the world of what's going there. You know, it's got histories of Marxism and socialism, and the resistance there is very, it once was very amazing. And so I think that people know about that because of those things. I don't think Kashmir has an international social movement that's backing it. You see, and I think fascist government at the moment, who have been there for a very long time, they sort of justify the occupation of Kashmir by post-colonialist means of saying that actually we are victims of Islamophobia. So we are victims of Islam, like the West. And so therefore there's a justification as into why they colonized Kashmir and now are able to settle there as Indians, not Kashmiris. It benefits them. And also there are a lot of intricacies in the history. It's a very long history. It was taken over in 1947. And it's been, it's been under so many different regimes, the Dogra, the Mughal. It's been under so many regimes that people are not ready to get,
But
to
be made by us.
And people also find it difficult because of the whole, these people are terrorists. These people are terrorists. It's black and white situation. We're just fighting terrorism here, and so the conversations get locked down.
There's a link to be made there, right? I mean, there's Black Lives Matter in America that made beautiful network exchanges with Palestinian activists in Palestine. There's this organization also called Black for Palestine, and you do work linked to Palestine, and in London you do work linked to Black Lives Matter, but there's maybe links to make there through also the hip hop culture and to
100%. The Black Lives Matter movement, the Palestinian liberation movement are a reflection of how I would go about Kashmiri politics, how I would base my strategies and my ideas. I mean, people like James Baldwin taught me that home is an irrevocable condition. That's James Baldwin taught me, and was able to reading people like that gives me a relief and an acceptance of what's happening, but to fight it, and Black Lives Matter movement is something so important in Britain because of the unbearable racism by the Tory government, by the police, the institutions, like whatever, every institution is backing racism in Britain, and the Metropolitan Police is one of the worst you know. So we've been fighting cops and racism in the Tory party for a very long time. We have a prime minister that calls black people pickaninnies with watermelon smiles. We have a racist government. We have a lot to fight for here when it comes to black liberation. And when we did have Black Lives Matter after George Floyd was murdered, it was massively inspiring because it was led by black youths. It was led by young black children in this country who were unbearably angry, and there was this hope of change that I genuinely believe that if anyone is going to get rid of the Tory government, it is the black youth in this country. They were so angry, and there was rage, but there was a real sense of change that was going to begin to happen in Britain, and that massively was an inspiration for someone like me who has been in the movement for a very long time, who was very politically involved on the ground. But of course, Corona has really ruined those things. There's lots of things that have torn apart socialism. The right have McCarthyism has torn apart socialism. So that there's another reason why I continue to take hip hop and my work more seriously, because I don't feel that there is a political organization at the moment in Britain that I could work in. There are movements, of course, but hip hop and theatre, I also do theatre and things like that, are real means of change. So I want to give my time to that. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. I've only been recording since 2016, but I've been writing since I was 12, and that took a lot of confidence to go, well, actually, I'm going to record in this quite male-dominated space, but also without women, this would never, hip hop would not be developed the way it has today. So with that in mind, I knew that how powerful it was as a woman of color, as an indigenous person, working class, that it was important for me to be a part of hip hop culture and to really, mostly I say hip hop culture, but my main interest lies in the underground. That's my main interest. I find, especially, I did know Trisha Rose when you asked me about her, and I said I didn't know her. Well, actually, when I read back to a lot of her lectures over the week, and I was like, yeah, man, I've definitely quoted her before, and she is an absolute inspiration to me, because I think that critiquing hip hop in the way that she has is so important. As a black woman, as black culture, for someone on her level to critique it in the way that she has, it's really inspiring, and it's what makes me want to do it.
Maybe you have a question or two, because I see that we're running out of time, but maybe you want to ask something to this amazing artist. I could listen all night. I just happened to glance at the clock that it's time.
I could listen all night. What I will say is, I just want to thank y'all. Thank you so much for the first performance. Like, I was blown away by your vocals. And just reading the comments online, people have been going crazy, like completely mad because of your performance. And I just thank you for being here. And I've learned a lot, actually, just listening as you talk about, your experiences and and sort of educating us on, the struggles of your people, right? I'm talking about you, Yipoon, and you, Shamma. And I have to think about it. Like, I need time to think about what I've heard and just to absorb everything. But I know from my own sort of positionality, right? Like, as a Black woman in this country, I know how hard it is sometimes just to speak it, just to talk about what's happening, right? So I thank y'all, because sometimes for me, it's just the pain is too much. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. And it's just like, it's too much to just, so I, on a platform like this, on a Sunday, like the Sunday that you know what I mean? Like today, I just thank y'all so much for just congregating with us virtually and sharing from wherever you are calling in
I'm a
from.
big fan, by the
So
way.
I thank you.
I saw you perform 6 years ago at Rich Mix, and I was absolutely blown away by it. I'm a big fan. I just wanted you to know.
Wait,
I saw my friends.
That was
Rich
I
Mix
think that
4
was
years.
4
Okay.
years ago.
Really? Okay, 4 years ago.
That was 2016. Yes.
I saw you. I was there.
Was absolutely mad. That show was absolutely mad. As a performer, as y'all know, you don't remember every show, but there are some shows that's just, the thing is so sweet that it's like you just will never forget it. Like that thing was so nice.
Your band was great,
I'm happy
man.
to know
Every
that you were
person
there.
in that band was absolutely exceptional. And you just, man, like sometimes, like listen to people sort of talk about politics on that level could be quite like, whoa, but it's just the way you made it sink in and flow. It was great.
Thank you. That thing was so nice. Yes, thank you. I remember the exact show. That thing was so sweet. Yes. But back to you. I wanted to just thank you for sharing but I just want to just say this really quickly. So this is the first event of the series, Show Up, Show Out. We are raising money to build a comprehensive digital database archive which will chronicle and document women's artistic work throughout 5 decades of hip hop music and culture. We have folks mapping. I mean, it's going to visually map and archive women's work in the United States and Canada. We got a team of folks in Brazil. We got people in West Africa. We got people in Europe. Like this is a global effort, and our intention is to build this groundbreaking resource and make it available to the public for free. It's revolutionary. It's exciting. I'm so honored to be a part of the team of amazing, really amazing women and amazing people doing this work. And I thank you all for being here. And I just want to remind folks, for those who want to support the work, please go to followthekeepers.com/donate. You will be directed to where you where you can donate. If you are in Europe, you'll see some bank transfer information there where you can donate via bank transfer. We got PayPal, whatever you use, like we are ready to accept it.
Right. Whatever. Just go out. Because the work is done. The work is covered. The money isn't.
Yes. So show up and show out for the keepers. But having said that, can I do this before we leave y'all, because we kind of a little bit over time. I want to.
But there's a last performance, eh? Shamma is going to perform after we close.
Yes. We fighting over who gets to introduce her. I'm gonna let you go.
Why don't you go back?
We're both excited. Let's go. I mean, listen, I am very excited. All the way in the UK. I mean, she has educated so many of us on this call today. About her people, and I'm looking forward to doing more research and understanding so that I could be better.
Yeah, me too.
Solidarity. Please, y'all, welcome Shamma, who also.
I'm performing now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me give everybody
Thank you. In with this performance.
Give me 2 seconds.
So 15th November is the next.
15th of November from 2 to 4 EST. Yes, we're going to take you all. Right now, we've been situated in Europe and Belgium with Shamma in the UK. And then on the 15th, we'll be focused on Brazil. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you all for tuning in. And let's end with this.
Enjoy. This last piece that also, by the way, has been written for tonight, specifically for us. Thank you, Shamma, for that.
No worries.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll do a little short introduction because I know we're running out of time. I'm just going to do a few old stuff that I've written with new stuff. I think the new stuff I'd like to share because it's been, I guess, written under lockdown, which has been very difficult for many people, and especially sort of artists who don't do that well in isolation. And I think that like everything we do these days under these circumstances of the rise of fascism and racism and corona and this pandemic. So I just want to share a little something to do with those things. Not corona itself, because that's just, I don't want to write about corona itself. But I'm going to start off with Remember Me. The more we talk, the less we start to exist like the sun. Let the world embody its own existence without the words of men. Let me be real so I can show you the valiant mountains, valleys filled with water and glory, not just blood. So why are you so afraid? Pieces of heaven on earth like hell has its place. We're not just dead or capitulated by our enemies. They are not everything, they are nothing. They are not everything, they are nothing. But I decolonize them and I don't pretend to stand in peace. Don't forget my name. Blood on the leaves, Kashmir. Remember me. 500,000 soldiers, 500,000 settlers, 500,000 hearts broken. Home is irrevocable and my condition unattainable. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. 500,000 martyrs dead. 500,000 resistance led. 500,000 refugees fled. Our freedom is irrefutable. Our freedom is irrefutable. I love this city, but this city's got us twisted. Schizophrenic, shame my mind. My mind lost its phonetics. Hanging on a barbed wire till life gave us something to aspire. Broken Britain, who's the liar? Broken Britain, who's the liar? The next piece I'm going to share with you is one of my favorite tracks from my latest EP, Lemon Heart. It's called England. It's sort of a little bit on sort of my experience of racism, living in the UK and racism, the ongoing Islamophobia. And I did a little video. A friend called Adam did a little video for England, and it was mostly footage from the Black Lives Matter movement, because I wanted to talk about the sort of the hatred in this country towards Black people and Muslims, but also the relationship and the intersectionality between the oppressed. And it goes like this. Fantasy and patience, but I'm gone. Leaned out on and on. The world is listening, so how does it feel? Run away the actual proof. The journey in a city blues. No church in the wild, so I fell in love. These walls are just a friend. And these walls are just a friend. Daughter of the sun. England is a prick who taught us. England is a prick who taught us. Revolutions are not televised, but deaths and martyrs are visualized so we can feel alive. White noise, white supremacy, validate oppression so we can grieve. They killed us and you let them breathe? What the fuck, we can't breathe. Governments and the media got everyone against us, but everyone is just like us. Fuck Brexit and the European Union. We live in a racist fortress. Wake up and smell the plastic, sicker than anti-vaccine. No woman in us is tired. Intifada, we wanna riot. Intifada, we wanna riot. The third poem is called Spent, and this is I'm gonna do it as a poetry piece, but it's some of my latest music that will be coming out on Beats in the next coming month. Actually, it's from my next EP. It goes like this. Spent life wondering if my identity belonged to me. But what's our identity on these streets? Sleeping, feeling hungry and empty, waiting for something to fill. My membrane no longer there for you to steal. You don't know my history. My history doesn't know me. So I check my Insta to see Kashmir, but Kashmir is in 2G. Each pixel showing me what I can't see. All I know is heaven's on its knees, and I want a piece of it, because when the drugs run dry, I can't find peace in it. I know poetry won't bring you back to me or change the way people think. Brown bodies lying on the streets, alive, not dead, breathless, never giving up. You said it was all for the dead. You said it was all for the dead. Manifest no more festering, it's gone to bed and there it sleeps, nocturnal, fighting its demons, laid in its own blood, nowhere to rest. Who is the best? Who is the best? Agitate, hate and berate, not feeling myself in this way, not knowing how self behaves, a circus in my head, a paradox, a box, empty, never full, never dull, never real. A box empty, never full, never dull, never real. Never full, never dull, never real. Living in a kingdom without a throne. It's a joke when you're the slave and they're the throne. Boris is a prick and everyone knows, but you take your pick and drown yourself, sell your shit and live alone. Never know how it feels to grow old. No mortgage, no loan, no jobs, we got told. The lost generation never holds its own. Every protest I've ever known, every communist I've ever known, every word ever told, every truth, every lie, but to never ever, but to never. I'm gonna do one last one. This is called Warriors. It's gonna be recorded on a beat made by an excellent music producer called Kareem Samara. I'm really looking forward for this track to come out. I think it'll be coming out in December sometime for my third EP. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if the pandemic doesn't get any worse. Warriors. Spit the past before my brain dissolves, but I tread on it. We were the young ones wanting the first half, thinking it won't last. What box to think out of, what glass to smash through. We weren't meant to survive. This ain't about you. I tie knots without you. Read books that drought you, memories that crush you. I woke up to a place so fucking hesitant. Answered plastered on the bullet holes of warriors. We weren't meant to survive. My enemy is your enemy. Who the fuck is your enemy? Quick call the martyr, Beirut's on fire. We weren't meant to survive. Anger made my stomach acid fumigate. Sadness turned my tears into dust. Love made my heart combust. You shot me and I fell to the ground. I left me to drown. Stop me, I need to fight the sound. Forget me, there's a war in town. People dilate with each puff I take. Life skips in days. Old friends find a way. Lost friends don't stay. Where did it go? The time slips powder. I rushed to my head, it's turning. You saw the end, I saw it burning. Systematic yearning. Out of here, vanguard and tears, nothing is there. White noise, the blue fades away, twisting my logic. The atmosphere glaring. Watch the wind take us there, raise fists in the air. I wanna smash their brains in, cause they ain't got nothing in them. They hate us, my tongue's dried to numb. Never again, how many dead? I wanna count your friends instead and watch the streets run red. Dream of something better, not younger, not older. Less to say, no reason to stay. Not afraid, but nowhere to run. They don't know my language, only in stories. They think it's a myth, but I learned how to exist. Thank you.
Our artistry, work, contributions, considered small, minimal, invisible, read as trespassers in the house our mothers built, nurturing the world in the midst of our starvation. The Keeper sets the record straight.